Viitorul e al tău, noi punem temelia. UTCP, construim pentru România. UTCP, Universitatea de Construcții București.
Thank you for your participation in the second part of the seminar of today. As we announced, we'll have a roundtable in order to share some ideas and to prospect future ways of cooperation. But first of all, I'd like to ask everybody if you have some questions for the presenters in the first half of the seminar. So we didn't get time for Q&A, and right now it is possible to have questions for the presenters of today. I will chair this round table together with Professor Koichi Kusunoki, and shall we start with pending questions? So, Professor Akima.
Yeah. Now what?
It's working.
Okay. So Professor Hisada mentioned now in Japan we are doing some national projects, and in this project there are several subgroups, and one group is focusing on bridge network maintenance concerning the seismic effect. So they said if they have enough design details of each bridges, so they can present a procedure to make a decision. So this bridge should be retrofitted, or this bridge should be retrofitted first like this. So I want to know, in Romania, today you presented the seismic fragility curves of bridges. So do you have any design drawing to develop seismic fragility? So I mean, to do some of this kind of risk assessment, we need data. So how many data do you have?
Thank you, sir, very much for the question. I think that, as I mentioned, in this first phase, we are just taking into account a very rough estimation of the median capacity based on the design ground motion at the time of the design of the bridge. But for more detailed information, I would ask my colleague Ionuț Răcănel and Mr. Pelin from CNAIL to let us know what is the situation with the database of the existing bridges.
Hello, I'm Alexandru Pelin. I'm the director of the Bridges Directorate in National Road Company Administration. And I can talk a lot about our maintenance. First of all, we are not involved in all the bridges in Romania, only on national road and highways. This means more than 4,300 bridges in total in my company. The other bridges on low-level roads are not in our company administration. Second, we have standards regarding maintenance as we know it. First of all, the general inspection that is done by our employees, the general inspection. Special inspections by a small committee of engineers, and if it's too bad, we call for an expert, technical expert like Mr. Răcănel or others, to give us the solution for the intervention. Now, our technical state standard is 5 classes, not with 4. 5 is very bad, or 1 is very good. And and we have different coefficient for different type of damage at the bridge. Not necessarily regarding the earthquakes, because unfortunately we don't have a database about earthquakes inflation in bridges in Romania. As we know, we didn't have major earthquakes till 77, and before that it was in 1940, and all the standard has changed since then. Now our intervention are mainly focused in damages made by water, by changing in the river bed regarding the climate changes and other kind of changes. And we have problem with the foundation of the old bridges. And also we have other kind of problem with the dimension of the bridges built before 1960. They are too small for two traffic line, so we have to replace the superstructure or replace totally the bridge, because the infrastructure cannot support two normal traffic line at this moment. And this is a major intervention for old bridges, road bridges, railway, other problems. Regarding the maintenance, we have BMS in 2006. It was a BMS in an old informatic platform, and our research institute with our employee updated to modern informatic platform in 2019, 2020, something like that. Our standard, it was same like yours. Every 5 years, the bridge must be checked by a specialist and introduce all the data in the program with pictures and everything we know about the bridge, the history of the bridge and whatever. And regarding the maintenance, we have another standard, and we have three types of maintenance: current maintenance, primary maintenance. This is very low-level maintenance, but it is. Periodical maintenance, which is combining two types of intervention: the periodical maintenance for existing structure and periodic intervention with changes in existing structure. Next, after the maintenance, we have total repairs, rehabilitation, general repairs, maybe. This is not maintenance in our point of view, it's investment. This is other type of money, other type of budget, and much more complex work. And the last stage is replacing the bridge with a new one, a modern one. In Romania, we apply Eurocode since 2011, and of course, a bridge designed and built after 2011 should resist to any type of earthquake we know in Romania at this moment. Regarding the old bridges, we have in Buzău, Vrancea area, bridges that are almost 100 years, built in 1932, 1934 anyway. And after all this period, we didn't find any damages regarding any earthquakes in this area. Of course, other bridges, maybe newer, have other type of problems, because mostly of the water infiltration to the expansion joints, and waterproof system failed. During time, the technology evolved, and now we are using much better waterproof system. And also regarding the maintenance, we are doing in mixed system. I mean, for small level works we are doing with our employees, and for other complicated intervention, maintenance intervention, we are hiring companies on the market. So we have men and machines and everything we need for some types of maintenance to do it for our own. This is about maintenance. If you want to know more, I can answer.
So thank you very much. So I want to make sure one point. You did mention, so you have a bridge data of the national bridge and highways only. So how about the other? Who is taking care of it?
The other bridges are split in about 43 or 44 local administration for local roads, and they have their own departments. The standards are the same for everyone, so they don't have different standards. They have different people and budget. That's why you can find in Romania in a specific area maybe a better maintenance, and in another area maybe a lower maintenance. This is happened also in our company, not a secret, because the engineers that are working there can do many things. This is about the end. All the big cities have their own structure for maintenance and administration, like Bucharest, for example. Here are a lot of bridges and overpasses, underpasses, and they are administered by the city hall. We have nothing to do with them. So everybody use the same standard, but in different types of budget and organization.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Building up on the question of Professor Akihara, so we have a very powerful institute for design of transportation infrastructure, and most of the bridges, if not all, were in the portfolio of this design institute. And my question is, Ministry of Transportation and CNAIR has or have a shared archive of these projects, or the projects are with the design institute with IPTANA? I mean, for the bridges built up to 1989. So where do we have the projects for the bridges?
So far as I know, so far as
It doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Try the other one.
It's working.
Did it work?
So far as I know, it is not at the national level shared so kind of information. So I come back a little bit to the fragility curves, where the question was about. We don't have such kind of data. Let's say the technical evaluation of bridges presented by Mr. Pelin is at the level of damages produced not only following an earthquake. So it can be following an earthquake, but there are some aspects regarding all components of bridges, substructure elements, superstructure. But these damages can come also from traffic influence, from weather conditions. So they are classified, and according to this kind of damages, the structure can be included in one of these 5 classes of damages, technical state of bridges. But regarding the fragility curves, there are also kind of studies in Romania at all, nor for the existing, but also for new bridges. So for new bridges, let's say, right now we started to, let's say, make, to have let's say, a global vision of, in what we concerns the resistance of a bridge for other levels of the seismic hazard, comparing what it was designed in the design stage. But for existing bridges, it is needed to have a much more detailed inspection regarding also the damages suffered. We don't have such kind of data. Damage suffered when the other previous earthquakes occurred, major earthquakes, I mean, let's say 77, 86, and we don't dispose of this kind of data at this moment. At least, let's say, centralize that data in some administration or something like this. So it is very difficult to have right now a very clear vision, mainly for the highway and the national roads. I don't speak about the regional bridges because it's much more difficult for them. So let's say this is, I think this is the direction we should develop in the future. Try to collect this kind of data regarding, in the first stage, the bridges located on the national main network roads, and I don't speak about the railway bridge because there the situation is worse, much more worse, much even worse. And let's say we try to prospect this kind of analysis and try to have some kind of data in the future to cover these aspects. So we cannot have right now a realistic vision about the state of the bridges concerning the seismic resistance, both for existing and new bridges. We can consider the main advantage right now because I can tell you till the start of use of Eurocode in 2011, in the field of bridges we didn't accept incursions in the post-elastic domain. So we designed the bridges according to the, let's say, stress level on structural elements, not on the, let's say, allowing the bridge to have some incursions in post-elastic domain and make the elements a little bit slender and offering some capacity of some post-resistance capacity of the structure. So we have, let's say, 10 years. We started to develop much more deeper analysis, seismic analysis, and right now, hopefully in the future we can. I don't know the state in the buildings, but in the bridges, this is the situation right now.
Thank you, Jonas. We'll shift to buildings. Sooner I'll pass to Professor Kusunoki to shift to the buildings, but if there are any other questions related to the presentations of the first part. I have a question for Professor Hisada and Professor Kusunoki. So you mentioned that it is a 5-year project and you have a midterm evaluation. And according to the midterm evaluation, you are interested to move forward or not. And my question is, who is performing this midterm evaluation? And if you have some key performance indicators from the beginning in order to follow and to have this judgment at the midterm.
Good question. Officially, who is the evaluator is It's called SISTI. It's a council, special council under the cabinet office. Then mostly, I think they're coming from the big private companies. Their CEOs, former CEOs, and so on. So they are quite capable to evaluate some project close to the business field, such as the automatic driving system and so on, or automatic delivery system with drones. They can evaluate how it can be applied in the near future in the society. Then what is the threshold to be applied to the public? Then in that sense, they will evaluate. But for the disaster management and infrastructure maintenance, it could be somehow quite difficult for them. But according to the system, they have the responsibility to evaluate. But before that, we need to organize the evaluation committee by ourselves. It's a self-evaluation. Then we ask some professors, some practitioners, and so on. Then we ask them to evaluate our progress of our project. And also recommendation, comments, we ask them. Then we make a report to the council. Then they will check the self-evaluation, mainly for the technical issue. The council is not going to evaluate by themselves, but they just rely on the committee we organize, because we ask some specialists very close to our field. But the system, the council will evaluate the framework of the project, if we are managing the project very well or not. Then it's quite tough, yeah. For example, the second term, I believe one project terminated. Even for the disaster mitigation during the second term, one subgroup was terminated. For example, we have the 5 subgroups. And at that time, they had more than 5, I believe 8 subgroups they had. But one of them, then the council said, there is no future for this subgroup. You should terminate. Then it was terminated. Yeah, Sara Sensei.
So perhaps I guess they will evaluate for our project from the viewpoint of the innovation of Japan or possibility of the social implementation.
Thank you so much. If there are any other questions? All right, if there are no other questions, just to, as I mentioned, to switch to buildings, and I'll pass the floor to Kusunoki-san. Kusunoki-san said to let us know the general and the current framework for disaster risk management in terms of seismic risk of buildings, and then we'll come back to Romanian situation, as Jonas mentioned, what is the situation here in Romania, and then I will ask to step in the roundtable with the issues that we launched this morning.
Thank you, Professor Radu. So, as a first step, I would like to introduce what is the Japanese condition and situation for the buildings. Then we have about 100 years history for seismic code and building code in Japan. The first law was developed in 1919, about 100 years ago. Then, since then, Then we experienced too many earthquakes. Then we experienced a lot of such stories. Then we found some defects in our building core. Then we revised again and again and again. Then during the Kobe earthquake, unfortunately, about 8,000 people were killed, mainly due to the collapse of the building. Then what we found was we conducted a detailed investigation. All structural engineers and researchers were called to the affected area, then investigate the damage of the building and the structural type and the construction year one by one. Then what we found was the buildings designed according to the current building code looked okay. The collapse ratio, it was almost zero. On the other hand, who killed the 8,000 people? We realized that because of the existing old buildings. Even if we found some defects and revised our building code, when the city becomes stronger. Today we revise our building code, but tomorrow the city is almost the same as yesterday. Nothing changed. Because according to the Japanese law, even if we revise our building code, it's not enforced to the existing buildings. The owner can use your own old building as before. But the Kobe earthquake taught us that's a problem. So that's why we developed a new law which says the owner should evaluate seismic performance of your building if your building was designed according to the previous building code. Then of course you need to retrofit if needed. In 1995, we developed the law. However, nobody wanted to evaluate the building performance. Because once the owner evaluates, then he knows or they know the result, they got the responsibility. So that's why they didn't want. Then it's costly, of course, to retrofit. Then and also the law didn't have the fine, even if you do not evaluate the seismic performance of your building. What the government started was government wanted to evaluate the seismic capacity of the public buildings, mainly school buildings. Because in the school, we have a lot of young stars for the next generation. Then we started evaluate all school buildings in 1995. Then the government declared we're going to finish within 10 years. But how many years did it take? You can guess. Just recently, the ratio of the retrofit became 99.8%, almost finished. So that means 30 years. So that means even if you start the same promotion right now with a similar framework as we developed in Japan, it takes 30 years. Then for the private buildings, there is no such motivation. So that's why the ratio is about 50-60. We still have time. We still need time. So I think in year 2000, we started the JICA cooperative research program with Romanian colleagues to develop the screening method for Romanian building and also retrofitting technique. That could be important, probably. But at the same time, I believe that we need to discuss about the framework, how to promote the seismic evaluation to the public, how to make them change their behavior, to get more interested in their own building. We have been struggling with that issue in Japan. Then we have experiences. So not only the technique, not only the academic aspect, but also I believe Japan can collaborate and share our experiences with other aspects from countries. That's what I'm thinking. How about the Romanian situation?
For Romania, if we consider buildings, I think that the regulatory framework is up to date, except the post-earthquake investigation is right now under revision. But otherwise, the seismic design code, seismic evaluation code, rapid visual inspection, they are in place and they are revised. Actually, the seismic design code is under revision and we'll have a new draft in 2025. As for the retrofitting, the situation is not as good as in Japan, but the tendency is pretty much the same. With public buildings, it's working better than with private buildings because the decision is much easier in this situation. You know from the JICA projects that we have a very diverse ownership of apartment buildings. Sometimes we have 50 owners, sometimes we have 100 owners for a building. So it's very difficult to move along. But I think that more information on the policy and the view of the government on the building we can find from Ms. Anca Tinova, Director in the Ministry of Development.
Thank you very much. First of all, we are very grateful to be here in this event, which is a follow-up of a very loved cooperation between Romania and Japan on this topic that was born during the JICA project, and last year we relaunched this cooperation when we were in Tokyo within the delegation of Romanian President His Excellency Klaus Werner Iohannis, who signed with your Prime Minister the strategic partnership, but also we had the opportunity with our former Minister Mr. Ceki Atila to come and discuss a little bit with you and with Mrs. I don't remember her name, the governor of Tokyo. And it was really a very inspiring visit. We would like very much to continue this cooperation and to try to learn and to find together specific ways to answer to the existing and new challenges that are also made by the climate changes and other type of risks that are coming. Of course, unfortunately we are not speaking just about seismic risk, but we are speaking about floods, landslides, and that are really complicated hits in very big hits that are generating some other type of risk that are of course reflecting also on the life of a building. So it's not just a matter of environment, it's a matter of how we are designing and managing the stock of buildings. We have a lot of legislation, we have national programs. We developed some new programs on buildings. We are trying to develop some digitalized databases in order to have more evidence-based policies. But of course, in terms of implementing the program, and this is something that we discussed also in Tokyo with Mrs. Governor and you and your former director, we have the problem of confidence, as the earthquake is something that is for the general people is something far away that is not going to happen. So we don't need to invest a lot, and we don't need to do much efforts in order to go on this. So the topic of earthquake is scary on one hand, but on the other hand, it is not something very easy to touch for the people. So that's why we had some programs, investment programs since 20 years with some incentives from the government. The program was not very successful. Last year we changed the paradigm. Now the government is giving 100% grants for multi-apartment buildings in order to consolidate. However, the retrofitting of the building is implying in the techniques that they are usually used some quite aggressive, let's say, measures. So first of all, the people must relocate for 1 or 2 years. Afterwards, then they are coming back in the middle of the living room. It's a new wall. In the nice window is not so big. So there are a lot of changes, and that are making the people to be more not very happy to enter in this type of programs. Also is a matter of money, because they are now, of course, is a matter of money for the government, but the problem with this type of project is that that you have an estimation at the beginning, but at the end sometimes the price is increasing 5 times. So the government is thinking that with this money will make 12 investment, but at the end of the day the money are enough just for free. So this uncertainty is not very helpful for the attractivity of the program. Of course, we are very interested to develop and we made last year some new programs to finance the public buildings, because the former program was only for multi-level multi-apartment buildings. Now we have a national program for public buildings in general. We have, with another law, a national program for schools, another national program for hospitals. So we multiplied and also a national program for seismic evaluation. So we multiplied the financial instruments that are helping this type of approach. We were thinking that maybe we can cooperate to find and to learn from Japan some new technologies that can be applied and that they are not so intrusive into the building. I don't know, maybe now there is a project financed by, I don't know exactly, it's a project on the Bucharest City Hall is developing a project to try to use a sort of exoskeleton. I don't know, it's in English, it makes sense. It's a skeleton that is exoskeleton, yes. To use this type of technology that is not regularly used in Romania for retrofitting. So the retrofitting is just this jacketing and some introducing new walls, new piles, and we think that maybe we can find some other type of technologies that are also not that are helping also the local authorities not to find in the situation to relocate 1,000 families, because also this is the problem. Okay, we have the money to make the retrofitting, but we don't have the housing stock to relocate during the works the people from there. So we think that we are, as Mr. Secretary of State Sole was saying also in the beginning, we are in a very good situation now. We made a lot of steps. We have important programs. We have the technical regulation in force, but we need to see how to make people more aware and to be more attracted by this. Also, I would like to add a few things. Our ministry is the national authority that is responsible for special planning, construction, architecture, urban planning. So we have a lot of things. Also, the administration, the public administration is attribution of our ministry. So that's why we implement the national programs through the local authorities. So our colleagues from the Ministry of Transport, they are the ones who are making directly the investment. We are working through the county council and local councils. So we don't have a direct contact with the end beneficiary. We are, if the beneficiary is the local authority, of course, but if not, we are working through the local authorities. And just I want to add something in relation to the project. So of course all the works are made on the basis of designs and technical designs, seismic evaluation, all type of evaluation. But at this moment, for the national interest infrastructure, the Ministry of Transport is giving the building permits. So for that ministry, for that type of infrastructure, all the designs are on the at the level of Ministry of Transport. Of course, we need to see how to use in a more fruitful way, let's say, with databases that can be used by researchers, and to see how what conclusion can we make to extrapolate some information from there, not just to have in a drawer some files with projects, but to take from there the information that can be used in an academic environment, or also in public policy environment. And for the local level, the county councils and the local councils are the beneficiary of the projects, and they are also giving the building permits, and they have all the technical designs and everything. We are building now the National Building Registry, which will be a digitalized system on buildings with a lot of information. And also we have some special databases at national level. Maybe I will show you in a few minutes. We will make some more dialogue, and if you need, if maybe someone want to ask or to comment something more.
Yeah, we are at the roundtable meeting, although there is no roundtable here. But the meaning of roundtable is that everybody is even. So anybody can talk as you want. Okay? There is no silly question. Don't worry. Everybody is challenging to the same problem without any answer so far. So please feel free to say your sentence.
So I have one question. So, in my presentation, I mentioned about for discussing our future collaboration. I would like to know the actual situation of the Romanian infrastructure management, especially in the local government. How about that?
Probably we are going to touch on the infrastructure later, right? No? You want to discuss building first?
For the infrastructure, there'll be an opportunity on Wednesday, when you'll have a meeting with Wednesday, yeah, with the Ministry of Transportation. And as Mr. Pelin mentioned, the local government is taking care. Some local governments, they have the money, some local governments, they don't have the money. Also,
they have a county council. Each county council is having a directorate that is having responsibilities. I don't know how much management is doing exactly, but they have these attributions. Maybe our colleagues from the Ministry of Transport, if you want to add something, they have this type of attributions. They have some their own budget, but also they are requesting from our national programs some specific financing when we are launching different local development programs. And also we have European funded programs for local development, so they have several financing instruments to use. We have national regulation on monitoring the life of construction, even if it's a building or technical infrastructure. They have, but each there is local autonomy, and each of them they can manage as they want their infrastructure. I wanted to show you just a little bit. We developed, it was not intended to be presented to you in the beginning, but I just came with the idea. The idea came to my mind during the meeting, so that's why it's in Romanian, but I will just show you a little bit. We have a national territorial observatory, which is a national databases with the entire territory of Romania. So, sorry, there is a mistake here. So this type of, it's a national platform with all territory of Romania. I think it's not the right link that I developed. So this instrument, it was developed on the basis of law on spatial planning and urban development, and is intended to substantiate public policies. And complementary with this, that is having a lot of information regarding the territory, we developed last year through this project, a digital model of the transport infrastructure and at local and county level. And it's in our GIS system, Geographic Information Systems, with a lot of parameters, the category of the road, the type of material, the length, all the specificity of each road. So also this system, so it's of course it's on a big scale, but if you make zoom on it, you can go to a specific place, and for each part of the road you can obtain several, you can associate several attributes. Of course, in order to keep alive this instrument, we need to collaborate all the time with the people from the local authorities. For the roads that we are financing through the national program, we can put ourselves some information on it, but for the others, it's a cooperation between national and local authorities. It's also the National Territorial Observatory, as I was trying and not succeeding very well to show you. We have also, it's a system that is functioning through protocols between different authorities that are providing data. So we are in process to develop this. However, in order to have all the information updated, the local authorities must give us or put themselves all the data in this digital model. In Europe, we have a directive regarding spatial data. Is called Inspire Directive, that is establishing national spatial infrastructure with some standards at European level that are coordinating all types of spatial information in order to, when you are looking to the Romanian part or to the Belgian part of the map, to see, to have the same type of information in order to make it possible. So this digital model for infrastructure is made also on the Inspire directive specification. So, of course, as I said, you have a map and some information that several attributes that are added, and we hope that this type of instrument can help also the academic, not only the public policy, but also the academic and the colleagues that are doing the projects and
So you also facing the problem, which the shortage of the human resource in the local government. Is it?
In central as well. Yes, in local government and but also in central government. The engineers are not very happy to go, and we are to go to work in the local government, and in order to have this type of activities, they must make public procurement procedures. First of all, have a budget, make public procurement, and for some county councils and big municipalities, they started to have some teams that are managing themselves, but we have to improve a little bit the situation. But now we have a shortage of course of. With some new legislation that we have in Parliament, we are trying to put some obligation to the several stakeholders that are producing data to upload them directly here. So if you are making the national government is giving you the possibility to upload, is giving you the system, and the designers, the evaluators, they can upload directly in the system the information. There is no need that the local authorities is receiving and is uploading itself the information.
Okay, thank you.
So, not like a medical field. For the surgery or medicines, they investigate a lot before we start using. They need to guarantee the 100% safety. But on the other hand, the buildings and the infrastructure we need, even if we don't know some details, how the building behaves. We cannot ask the people, please wait until we fully understand the behavior of the building. It's impossible. So we already have so many the stock of the buildings and the infrastructure. Of course, we have a lot of defects and problems and difficulties. If we put all the difficulties and the problems on the table, we cannot find out a way. There is no magic to make the city stronger in one night. But today, we are facing the very, very good opportunity for both of us, Romania and Japan, to collaborate against the deteriorations and the disasters. So I think that there are many candidates to collaborate. But I think to move further, to achieve the actual real collaboration, we had better somehow concentrate on some specific topic. So it's not easy to find out the specific topic for the collaboration, of course. So that's why we need to discuss a lot to find out the common problems between our two countries. That's one thing I'm thinking. And another one is how to collaborate. So we have several experiences of international collaboration in Japan. And my feeling and my recommendation is we had better develop the international collaboration framework under the public bodies, not individuals. So in the beginning, if we develop the international collaboration based on some person-to-person basis, it can work in the beginning because they are quite enthusiastic for the collaboration. But time flies so quickly. Soon they will get retired. Then it's not easy to continue the collaboration. But if we can develop some collaboration under some public bodies, of course in the beginning it's not easy to move, but I think it can last much longer. That's what I'm thinking, 2 points. One is we have better find out some common specific issue for the collaboration. And also we should discuss about the framework for the collaboration. So today, we Japan side introduced the SIP program, but that's for the multi-ministerial project. Of course, there are many other issues we are doing, but they are under one specific ministry. That's why we didn't have a chance to introduce today. But of course, Ministry of Construction, the correct name is much longer than Ministry of Construction, but I don't remember the correct name. So Minister of Construction in Japan is tackling so many issues to promote the structure retrofitting or to manage the bridges and so on. So today, we didn't have a chance to share that information, but during the collaboration, I think we can share the knowledge and experiences. I'm sorry, it's my thinking things right now.
Oh, I fully agree with Kusunoki Sensei. And actually, for starting with the second part, I think that in today and the coming days, we have all the three actors that we need in order to have a cooperation. We have Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport in Japan.
Oh, you remember the correct name?
Yeah. And tourism. Right? And tourism, yeah. And Ministry of Development of Romania and Ministry of Transportation of Romania. So if there is a mutual interest and a political will, I think that we can set up the framework. Not we, but the government, the two governments of Japan and Romania.
The political will was expressed both by our president, Mr. Iohannis, and both by our minister.
Excellent.
Now we have to, and also our minister, current minister, Mr. Vesta, he signed himself the invitation for this seminar. So we have the political commitment. We need to see exactly how we can cooperate and what are the instruments and the specific themes, because we explored some ideas with Ambassador Draga before, but we must see, because also we have different collaboration with other countries, and we have different type of cooperation. Sometimes we try to develop more concrete projects. Sometimes it was more, let's say, more light cooperation. So there are a lot of possibilities. We have to see which one it can be. One that was discussed last year in Tokyo, it was to identify a few buildings, to go to JBIC to see if there is a possibility to finance a package of technical regulation and pilot projects. Some other were related to other types. So we have to play between let's say, foreign affairs regulation and the national and European legislation on public procurement, because we cannot go to work directly with the Japanese or French or Italian company. We have to go to this specific legislation. So that's why we need to explore a little bit more and to see what we want to do also with our colleagues from the Ministry of Transport. So there are a lot of possibilities. If also with the Ministry of Finance, if we will speak about a loan from JBIC, it's not just a matter of our intention. The Ministry of Finance must tell us if in the huge financial framework of the Romanian budget this is possible and how it is possible. So, but we are on the way. I think we are on the right way. We have to clarify a little bit more how we can do it. My experience with the French government, it was in this way. With the Romanian part, we have a long cooperation since 1991. In the framework, of course, it's closer, and we are both from European Union. but the Romanian part financed from the Romanians, the French government financed for the French part, and we worked together, and the results were coming. But of course, there are different type of instruments. If we will identify, of course, maybe for a bridge like in Brăila is something, a huge infrastructure that can be very interesting for someone who is coming from the other part of the globe. But for a school or a hospital in a small municipality, is not enough interest to cross the entire world. So that's why I said that we need to see each ministry which is the possibility to see. We will discuss more on 29 when we'll have the meeting in our ministry, and of course afterwards to see how we can go. We are very interested at technical level to see it, because as you know very well, you know the best both of you. We had a lot to win from JICA project, but as we are in a different moment of evolution of the country, JICA is not anymore a type of instrument that we can address.
Thank you.
Yes, sure. So it's very clear that it will be on equal basis, on mutual basis, and I'd like to have the vision of IHI. Nagano-san.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. Yes, as you pointed out, the large-scale bridge like Brăila Bridge is very important and very eye-catching. But as long as we discussed today in today's meeting, the smaller rural and local administration controlled infrastructure might be having a certain problem in the terms of maintenance and the small houses, small hospital, and small infrastructure. And this problem is also common with Japan, as Japan also has a problem in municipalities to maintain a certain enough capacity of engineers, and because of aging of society and the aging of the infrastructure. So to jointly investigate on such a thing might be a good idea. This is my personal opinion. And as Radu-san pointed out, making a stable framework, a bilateral stable framework between Romania and Japan, government to government level, to keep on communicating in the certain frequency. This is, I think, a very good idea to develop this relationship further, not closing this discussion at this moment, but to continuously continue the dialogue. And as Dr. Kusunoki pointed out, there should be certain specific agenda. If there is certain specific topics, it is more, the discussion will be more concrete. So, just my personal opinion, as this, in the beginning of the organization of this meeting, original topic was the seismicity and the existing bridge situation in Francia and Buzău districts. And putting a certain specific topics, joint investigation and joint case study in the continuous bilateral framework might be a good idea. This is, sorry, my personal opinion, but I would like to raise in this opportunity.
It's good.
I will just point out a more technical aspect to this discussion beyond the policy problems, because there is a very interesting feature of the building stock in Romania. Very many buildings were constructed during the communist regime following standardized projects. And this concerns not only residential buildings, but school buildings, and also other buildings of common use. And perhaps if we would focus on these buildings and just elaborate a guideline for the main types of standardized buildings which are were built on a large scale during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, we will perhaps cover a very large part of the building stock. So standardized buildings are a source of common cooperation because they are really aging infrastructure, and they definitely do not conform to new codes of today. So this was the idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's quite an important point. I think not only the structure behavior, in terms of structural behavior, we are going to select some typical sets of buildings, but also I think the typical, let's say, problems, for example, how to achieve the agreement among the habitants, the residents. If some special type of apartment has its own problem or difficulty, we can select that community or building as one typical type. I'll recall my memory, and when I came to Romania, Bucharest in 2000 probably, we actually seriously discussed how to make the Bucharest city much stronger. Big difference between the cities in Japan and Bucharest is your buildings are touching to each other. But it's prohibited in Japan according to the building code. Each building should have at least a certain amount of the distance between the two buildings. So that's why we can conduct the numerical simulation individually. But once we came here with my colleagues, we found that all buildings are touching to each other. How we going to conduct the numerical simulation? Then we discussed a lot. For example, okay, let's develop the block-based isolated system. We're going to just put the base isolator for whole block. Seriously, we discussed. And also we discussed we had to better build the bank at the four corners of the block because bank has a lot of walls. They are strong enough to protect the buildings in the block. Something like that. You may feel silly right now, but at that time, so many researchers coming from BRI. BRI is one of the cutting-edge national institute in Japan, but all my colleagues seriously discussed like that issue. So please, everybody here in this room, you need to carry some responsibilities for the future collaboration. Everybody. So there is no silly thought like block isolated system. So you can say anything. If you think you have some idea, let's go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, smart senses. I just have one question. I kind of know more or less the answer because I have been to Japan. But I would like to know the procedure that Japan follows when Japan develops design code for building. How much research do you put into that? And what is the role of research for that? How do you translate the research results into the design code? Please. Thank you.
Good question. So I have been in BRI under the Ministry of Construction. That's a national institute, not academic institute, but a direct national institute under the Ministry of Construction. We conducted pure academic research, and also we maintained the building code. Then I'm a professor of the university, so I experienced both of them. Then it's a little bit complicated how to revise our building code. It's not easy. Even if one professor found some very nice theory, but we cannot change the building code because there is no evidence. Even if we conduct experimental tests, but we do not apply for the building code because changing the building code is a very, very big responsibility. If we change the building code, that can cause some existing building becomes not out of the code. It becomes out of the code. So we should be careful to change the building code. So usually when we revise these because of the earthquake, if earthquake happens, then some specific damage pattern can be observed. Then we conduct the research. So we usually develop the national project to investigate. Then we found for sure this is the defect of the building code. Then also we can find out the alternative method to solve this defect. Then we revise the building code. So it takes time. But for example, in January 1st, we got a pretty strong earthquake in Japan. The one building overturned, as I showed you. Then it killed 2 persons. So that's why our government and the Ministry of Construction organized such a special committee. Then we are now conducting the special investigation to find out the reason. Then we start discussing if needed. Of course, we are going to improve the building code. If we can find out the reason, we will change. But just only the finding in the academic field, we cannot change the building code. That's the situation. So sometimes it takes time, and also sometimes I think it's not the best way, but it can affect a lot to the huge number of existing buildings, so we should be too much careful. How about in Romania? Is it easy to change, or it's highly related to the EU?
So, actually, the Ministry of Development has a regular plan, more or less 10 years plus.
Periodical.
Yeah, to revise the building code, both in terms of capacity and in terms of demand. Because our building code is an integrated code, it's not just a demand code, it's also a demand and capacity code. For the demand, we started a couple of years ago in 2004, we started from quite a low level of the seismic demand in terms of return periods of 50 years. And gradually approaching, let's say, the international level of 475 years. And the revision of 2025 will have this 475 years return period. And for the demand, this is for the demand. For the capacity, after 10 years of application of a previous version of the code, you somehow have a lot of information from the designers that something is not working or something can be avoided, and you don't want to have this kind of shortcuts in the design code, because if there are some shortcuts in the design code, it is not fair for the market. Okay, so everybody shall have the same approach. Not some people taking the shortcut and some people taking the actual road. And this is happening right now. Actually, in earthquake engineering, I think that the situation is more or less general. There are no major breakthroughs. So since 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, when a lot of financing in Japan and United States, and you have that common programs with Japan and United States, working together for the benefit of earthquake engineering, that was the years of major breakthroughs. And then New Zealand came along, and so it was a very productive period for earthquake engineering. Right now, Japan is investing, as far as I understood and as far as I'm aware, in earthquake engineering. Otherwise, the situation is more or less, let's say, at a very low pace. And actually, I have a very limited understanding here. If it is considered that the problem is already solved, it is not solved at all, this is for sure. Or we have some limits in our understanding of the real world, both in terms of action and response of the building. But anyway, you may get a feeling of a building code after a major earthquake, just looking at the building code, building stock that was designed according to a certain building code. There are some situations when some countries notice a very bad behavior, and as Tsunaki-sensei mentioned, you'll change the building code. Otherwise, you'll just fine-tune the building code such as to provide better safety to the population and to reduce the losses. Because actually, I think that the modern building codes succeeded to provide safety to the residents, but somehow they failed to reduce losses at a level that is acceptable for the society and at a level that will not, let's say, turn around the whole society after an earthquake about who will pay for the seismic losses, because this is a major problem as well. So I think that we may conclude, have a coffee break, think about, and to come back with some conclusions for the half an hour from 4:30 to 5. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Viitorul e al tău, noi punem temelia.